My next project here is to rebuild my DX Commander Classic. I've had this antenna for several years here and it's starting to wear out. Parts are starting to wear out, just age from normal, just weathering. So it's time for a remake. So let's get into this. Hey, Steve here, Kilo 4 Sierra Romeo Foxtrot. While doing some visual checks on my antennas the other day, I took a look at my DX Commander Classic. Now this has been out in the Florida weather for several years now, and I decided it's time to do a little maintenance on it. It needs a little tender loving care, some parts replaced, basically get it back into good working order. So let's go ahead and do this. Here's my DX Commander, and it's been out in the yard for several years and due for an upgrade. Not upgrade really, but just a little maintenance and tender loving care. And as you can see, the pole itself, the mast itself, is in pretty good condition. What I am going to be replacing are these the spacers here. And as you can see, they're a little weather worn. Now, DX Commander has sent out a new set of rings, which are now gray. They're not white. So I want to replace them with a gray. They're heavy duty, UV resistant. Now you can see this one's got a little break in it, and it's starting to splinter some. Now another thing I'm going to replace maybe are these hose rings that actually help keep the pole stable and keep these rings in place. Now they also have been replaced. This one I've got taped up with another type of hose clamp, but if these are not damaged severely, if they're reusable, I'll clean them up and reuse them and string this thing back up. Now, I am going, as I've said before, I've eliminated the 80 meter, but I'm having second thoughts. What I do is I may put the 80 meter on here and just pull it up and string it when I want to run the 80 meter band. So I may just do that, just not keep it strung up at this point. Well, let me go ahead and start to disassemble. I'm going to replace the wires for the different bands and the cord here, the cord there to hold them, tension cord. So let me go ahead and get started on this, and I'll show you when I get through. Okay, I have completed the rebuild of my DX Commander Classic. Took everything off, the plates off and everything, the wiring. Then I washed the pole down, the mast down with soap and water and dried it. And then I gave it a thin spray or thin coat of graphene spray, which is the same material used to coat your ceramic coated vehicles. It didn't bring this thing back to a factory shine as new, but it did clear it up and shine it up a little bit. Also gave it a little bit more protectant, since the graphene spray does have UV protectant in it as well. Now, as you can see, I put the newer gray plates in here. They are actually thicker than the original plates that came with this. They're about, I don't know how well you're going to see this on the they're about a quarter-inch, maybe about quarter-inch thicker than the original plates that came with it, and I can tell they are a lot sturdier. And Callum boasts that these are definitely UV protectant, because the old ones, they served me well for a few years, several years, but they started to break down. These, we'll see. He said they're more UV protectant. Weren't expensive at all. And I'm using those on the wires to indicate the band on the wire, and this one is going to be 40 meters. Up here is 6 meters. I'm going to go ahead and try 6 meters on DX Commander here. I don't see it listed on any of his charts, but we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. But what I did is I just slid the wire through the little tiny holes here. And to keep them pretty much in place, what I did is I took some electrical tape, put a little piece of electrical tape here and one above it, and as you can see, it kind of keeps them in place. It keeps them from sliding too far up and down. So it keeps them relatively close to the eye line of sight where they're mounted into the driven plate. Okay, I do have my radials already pre-cut. I'm using 9-foot lengths for the radials here, and I'm going to be attaching them to the radial plate on the bottom here. Now I've got 7 posts available, but that doesn't mean I'm limited to only 7 runs or 7 strands of cable, whatever. I can put as many cables into a hook, attach them accordingly, and lay them out accordingly, just as planned. So that's what I'm going to be doing with these. Like I said, I'm going to put in at least 64 minimum strands of copper. This is not, I hadn't gotten the back, I have not got this back end back here yet. I've got out to the side parallel this way with 8 radials. I'll be adding more to it, but I'm just getting a baseline set out here. So I'm going to go ahead and put these out and space them accordingly and pin them down with yard staples. Now I've got some biodegradable yard staples, but in this case I'm using old pre-used metal yard staples since I've got them left over. They too will biodegrade eventually. So go ahead and get these laid down. Okay, I've got 7 posts filled with radials, a batch of radials of 4 each, so that's 7 times 4 is 28. 28 times 9 foot, they're all 9 foot long. You're looking at 252 feet of cable. So let's just, out of curiosity, see what the SWR looks like at this point for 40, let's say 40 meters. And 1 second. I'm going to do this without my glasses on. Right now, 40 meters is not looking too bad. It could use a little bit of work, but all in all, not looking too bad. Let's go ahead and try 20 meters. And this is, like I said, with only 28 cable or radials run, more radials to run. All right, 20 meters, that needs some work. Also have to tune the antennas too, don't forget. So this is just using the radials and the length I've already cut. All right, let's go with 10 meters. Yep, 10 meters needs work too. Don't worry, we're gonna get there. One last one, let's go with 6 meters. That's the only bands I have on this particular thing here. 6 meters. Whoa, okay. Yeah, but I think 6 meters is going to work on this antenna too. So let's get back to work. You know, of course, the most fun about antenna making or building is actually tuning the thing. Now, on some of the frequencies like 40 meter and 80 meter, I had to actually take the antenna down to just the length of the wire. When I get to a certain angle or a certain height, I'll just go ahead and utilize the ladder. What I'm doing here is I'm bending back just a little bit of the antenna itself, securing it with some tape, and using a knot here on the shock cord, rehanging the antenna loop, the wire itself. And it's a lot easier and a lot quicker than having to take the antenna down and put it back up all the time. So this is a lot quicker way. Once I do that, I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and check the SWR. Okay, I've got my antenna tuned as best as I'm going to do it today. So let's go ahead and check out all the bands we have here. We're going to start with a 40 meter band. And as you can see, that doesn't look too bad at all. It doesn't look too bad at all. Let's go ahead and try the 20. Okay, could stand a little more work, but I'm not going to worry about that today. That's within the acceptable range. Let's go and check the 10 meter. Oh yeah, 10 meter from where I use it at, that's going to be fine. And lastly, we're going to check out the 6 meter band. 6 meters still needs some work on it. I'm going to have to work on that one. It could be a reason that Callum didn't choose a 6 meter on this particular antenna. But we'll go ahead and play with it. As like I said, I was just trying the 6 meter to see if it would work. And got some issues with it, but that's a project for another day. And well, it looks like I'm ready to go now, and just hook this coax back up to the box in here, and it'll go to the radio. And we will play with it tonight to see how it sounds. Right now, I think we're going to be doing okay. Well, I hope the information I provided you has been some help here and kind of gave you the inspiration to go ahead, if you have one of the DX Commander antennas, to go ahead and check it out, keep its maintenance up, and if need be, replace parts on it. Well, it's not that hard to do once you get it started. And basically, you just draw from memory from the first time you built it, and it shouldn't be any trouble at all. Give yourself a couple of days, too. Now, I didn't create new radios. I used the older radios, and I did just created the new band the wires for the different bands. But outside of that, it really was not that hard to do. And it only took actually 2 days, weather permitting, from start to finish. Until next time, this is Steve, Kilo 4 Sierra Romeo Foxtrot 73.